Have you ever watched something as a kid that felt magical, but also a little too weird to explain? For a lot of Canadian kids growing up in the late 90s and early 2000s, the toy castle was exactly that. A ballet-driven fever dream with life-size toys, strange camera angles, and that haunting music box theme. Today we're diving into the origins, characters, and the surprising end of one of the most surreal shows ever aired on Canadian TV. Section 1. Origins of the show. The toy castle didn't come from Treehouse originally. It was born out of live theater, specifically from a French-Canadian stage ballet called Le Château de Bois Dormant. This stage production experimented with mixing fairy tale fantasy, ballet, and children's storytelling. Producers realized they were onto something unique. A show where stories are told entirely through movement, not dialogue, using actors trained in ballet and mime. The concept was adapted for television in 2000, produced by Sound Venture Productions in Ottawa in partnership with Treehouse TV. The idea was simple but original. At night, when humans fall asleep, the toys inside a child's bedroom come to life and have miniature adventures. When morning comes, they freeze again, like nothing ever happened. This freeze and unfreeze became the show's entire identity. Filming took place in a large soundstage in Ottawa, and the entire set was built to look like a toy-sized dream world. Oversized blocks, giant doors, bright fantastical colors, and those iconic glossy floors that almost reflected the actors like mirrors. It was basically Blue's Clues meets the Nutcracker, but way more surreal. Section 2. The characters. The toy castle had a huge cast, but only a handful were consistent throughout the show. Here's a breakdown of the core characters you'll remember. The soldier. Straight out of the Nutcracker aesthetic, brave, stiff movements, and always trying to act heroic even when the moment didn't call for it. His ballet style was sharp and regimented. The ballerina, the gentle heart of the toy castle. She moves with quiet confidence, always twirling toward wonder. Graceful, curious, and full of life. She keeps the castle glowing long after the playroom lights go out. The China doll, one of the most iconic and unintentionally creepy characters. Her rigid, mechanical movements were based on porcelain doll joints. Her segments always bordered on eerie because of how quiet and delicate she was. The rag doll, loose, floppy, hyper-expressive movements. She played the goofy, childlike role, always getting into silly situations. The clown, a classic mime type of clown, exaggerated emotions, big gestures, always bouncing around and causing chaos. Definitely nightmare fuel for a lot of 90s kids. The ballerina mouse, fan favorite, wholesome energy, very graceful, and always portrayed as curious. The costume also looked straight out of a ballet company. Full tutu, mouse makeup, and the iconic pink nose. The goblin, one of the strangest characters on the show, mischievous and often the troublemaker in episodes. His movements were low, twisted, almost creature-like. As adults, a lot of people swear he was nightmare fuel. The sailor, a cheerful daydreamer who's always ready for an adventure. He's curious, upbeat, and brings a playful explorer energy to every scene. The strongman, the confident show-off of the castle. He's all muscles and swagger, but underneath it he's harmless, friendly, and surprisingly gentle. The frogs, a hyperactive duo that hops into chaos wherever they go. Silly, energetic, and always dancing, they bring the wild comic relief. The mouse dad and kid, a wholesome pair who capture the heart of the show. The dad is patient and warm, while the little one is curious, mischievous, and always learning. Section 3. How episodes worked. Episodes were extremely short, around 5 minutes each, and almost every story followed a simple emotional theme. Jealousy, being left out, want to fit in, feeling scared, making mistakes, being honest. The stories were built around universal kid emotions, but the ballet style gave everything a dreamlike vibe. Each episode started with the narrator opening the bedroom at night, letting you enter the toy world, and ended with the toys freezing as daylight returned. Section 4. when it ended, and why. The Toy Castle ran from 2000 to 2003, producing 65 episodes, which Treehouse recycled heavily for years. Why did it end? Simply put, it was too expensive. Despite looking small and simple, the show required trained ballet actors, custom-built set pieces, theater-level costumes, choreographers, a full-time narrator, a dedicated soundstage. For a niche children's show with short 5-minute episodes, that budget wasn't sustainable long-term. Additionally, Treehouse was shifting toward cheaper animated content in the early 2000s, shows that cost far less per episode and were easier to localize. So the show quietly wrapped, and the episodes continued rerunning until the mid-2000s before disappearing entirely from broadcast rotation. Section 5. Legacy and Cult Status. Even though it only lasted a few years, The Toy Castle became one of those Canadian childhood Mandela effect shows. Everyone remembers it, but nobody remembers when they watched it or what the plot was. Its dreamy music, slow pacing, and ballet movements made it feel more like a memory than a show. Fans today describe it as comforting but unsettling, like a fever dream, the show you watched when you were homesick, the live-action version of a lullaby. Clips uploaded online often go viral because people can't believe it was a real kid's show and not a made-up memory. So that's the history behind The Toy Castle, the strange, beautiful, ballet-inspired kids show that defined late-night Treehouse nostalgia for a whole generation. If you want more deep dives into forgotten 90s and early 2000s Canadian shows, let me know which one I should cover next.